It may not have been sideways to y'all, but it looked sideways to me. And just to be sure, I just went ahead and ended it and just started the video over. All right, so, but I think we're good now. If I still look sideways to y'all, let me know. Uncle JB, shalom, shalom. I was just saying I just came on Facebook, but when I went live, it flipped me from right side up to sideways. And I wasn't sure if y'all saw it sideways or if it was just my camera. So I just ended it and came back live. Okay. All right, y'all. Happy Saturday, party people. I'm gonna grab my stuff. All right, y'all. We're supposed to be watching for the new moon today. Actually, did I check yesterday? Yeah, I think we're supposed to be looking for it today. So hopefully it's clear. I ain't been able to see it in the last few months. Jen, good morning, Auntie. Blessings, blessings. I'm up here, y'all. I mean, I know y'all don't know. It's like, girl, you know you don't pin that? Hold on, y'all. All right, I had to get Bella's green pen. We're going to use her pen. Okay. All right, I got Bella's. Couldn't find mine. All right, well, it's going to work. Yeah, it's green too. All right, beautiful people. Happy Saturday. It is April the 2nd, 2022, day 71 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count. Day 1089. All right, y'all. Today we are going to finish reading Tablet V in the Complete Annunaki Bible. It was Tablet V, right? Yeah, Tablet V. Which would be pretty short because it's on like 4 pages left. But I'm wondering, because it's Saturday, maybe we'll see. No, I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna finish Tablet V, and then we're gonna finish My Big Toe. I don't want to keep pushing that out. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna finish up this, which is gonna take us all but maybe 10 minutes, right? So look at this. Tablet V, starting on page 347. All right, I'm just gonna put the ending page now, 349. And then we're gonna pick back up My Big Toe. All right. Let's do this. Lavon, blessings, blessings. Oh yeah, we paused that too. Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? Oh, wait, we could finish My Big Toe today. We could finish it today, y'all, because we paused. Oh, we're gonna finish it. Let's go for it. We're gonna finish it. Okay. I forgot how close we were to the end. I thought we still had like 2 chapters left. All right, but anyway, blessed be the most holy that has awakened us again on another day. Y'all can't find my Carmex, so I gotta use like my little oil on my lips. Okay. Uncle Nathaniel, peaceful greetings. Jasmine, shalom, shalom, say shalom. All right, y'all, let's do this. Okay. All right, so Tablet V on page 347, and the title of this chapter was called, or is called, The Book of Variations and Fluctuations. Okay. This portion that we're about to start is Tablet 2, and it is called the Anzu and Ninurta Cycle. And it starts off with the ellipses, ... and there are words missing, okay? Make a path, fix the hour, let light dawn for the gods whom I created. Muster your devastating battle force, make your evil winds flash as they march over him. Capture soaring Anzu and inundate the earth, which I created, wreck his dwelling. Let terror thunder above him, let fear of your battle force shake in him. Make the devastating whirlwind rise up against him. Set your arrow in the bow. Coat it with poison. I'm sorry, I keep saying bow. Military BOW is either bow or bow, right? It's supposed to be bow. I'm sorry. Y'all can tell we at springtime every year. The sun starts shining bright through this window. During the wintertime, fall and the winter, it wanes away. It's still rising in the same place, but it don't shine through the window like it do in the springtime. It's amazing. I go back and look through all the videos. You can tell the pictures where it has that beam of bright light with the rays. You can tell we're in the springtime or summer, right? That's beautiful. All right. I would like it to still shine through, but sometimes it impedes the video. So, but you know, hold on. Make the devastating whirlwind rise up against him. Set your arrow in the bow, coat it with poison. Your form must keep changing like a Galu demon. Send out a fog so that he cannot recognize your features. Make your rays proceed above him. Make a high attacking leap. Have glare, more powerful than Shamash generates. May broad daylight turn to darkness for him. Seize him by the throat, conquer Anzu, and let the winds bring his feathers as good news. To Eker, to your father, Enlil's house, rush and inundate the mountain pastures and slit the throat of wicked Anzu. Then shall kingship enter the Eker again. Then shall rights return for the father who begot you. Then surely shall shrines be created. Establish your cult centers all over the four quarters. Your cult centers shall enter the Eker. Show your prowess to the gods, and your name shall be powerful. The warrior listened to his mother's words. He hunched in trepidation and went into hiding. The Lord took charge of the seven of battle. The warrior took charge of the seven evil winds who danced in the dust, the seven whirlwinds. He mustered a battle array, made war with a terrifying formation. Even the gales were silent at his side, poised for conflict. On the mountainside, Anzu and Inerta faced each other. Anzu looked at him and shook with rage at him, bared his teeth like a lion in sudden rage, in utter fury, shouted to the warrior, I have taken away every sacred right, and I am in charge of all the Annunaki orders. Who are you to come to do battle against me? Give your reasons. Insolently, his speech rushed out at him. The warrior Ninurta answered Anzu, I am the avenger of the Duranki gods, who established the Duranki, the cult center of the broad earth. Anzu listened to his speech, then hurled himself furiously amid the mountains. Darkness fell over the mountain, and their faces were overcast. Shamash, the light of the gods, was overcast by darkness. Gira, the fires of the gods, was overcast by darkness. Adad, the storm god, roared like a lion. His den joined that of Anzu. A clash between battle arrays. War became imminent. The flood, weapon mask, the armor plated breast was bathed in blood. Clouds of death rained down. An arrow flashed lightning. Carelessly, the battle force roared between them. The powerful, superb one, son of Mami, trusted of Anu and Dagan, beloved of the Enki, the far-sighted one, aimed the shaft at him from the bow's curve, but it did not go near Anzu. The shaft turned back. Anzu shouted at it, You, shaft that came, return to your reed thicket. Bow frame, back to your court. Back to your corpse. Bowstring, back to the ram's gut. Feathers, return to the birds. As Anzu said these words, he was holding the tablet of destinies in his hand, and they influenced the string of the bow. The arrows did not come near his body. Deadly silence came over the battle, and conflict ceased. Weapons stopped and did not capture Anzu amid the mountains. The nurture shouted out and instructed his messenger, Repeat to the far-sighted Enki the actions you have seen. The Lord's message is, Ninurta was encircling Anzu, and Ninurta was wrapped in devastation's dust. But when he set the shaft to the bow, drew it taut, and aimed the shaft at him from the bow's curve, it did not go near Anzu. The shaft turned back as Anzu shouted at it. The message was carried to the far-sighted Enki. The far-sighted one listened to his son's words, called out and instructed the messenger, Repeat to your Lord what I say, and everything I tell you, repeat to him. Don't let the battle slacken. Press home your victory. Tire him out so that he sheds his pinions in the clash of tempest. Throw a thick, take a throw stick to follow your arrows and cut off his pinions, detach both right and left. When he sees his wings and gives his utterance, shouts wing to wing, don't panic. Draw taut from the curve of your bow, seize him by the throat, conquer Anzi, and let the winds bring his feathers as good news. To Eker, to your father Enlil's house, rush and inundate the mountain pastures and slit the throat of the wicked Anzu. Then shall kingship enter Eker again. Then shall rights return for the Father who begot you. Then surely shall shrines be created. Establish your cult centers all over the four quarters. Your cult centers shall enter the Eker. Show prowess to the gods, and your name shall be powerful. The messenger bowed and took the message, carried the battle, dispatched to his lord. Everything Inky told him, he repeated to him. The nerve to listen to the words of far-sighted Inky brought by his messenger. He went into hiding. The Lord conjured the seven of battle. The warrior conjured the seven evil winds who danced in the dust, the seven whirlwinds. He mustered a battle array, made war with a terrifying formation. Even the gales were silent at his side, poised for conflict. And that, my beautiful people, is the end of Tablet V. So we pause here. And we are on page, starting tomorrow with Tablet W, we are on page 350. It is 398 pages that we're reading. So you got Tablet W, it goes all the way to Z. But Tablet, hold on. Tablet X, Book of Crossings, and the Ilu Stargates, it has a lot of sigils in it. So it's reading, but some of the pages are just like sigils, you know? So they're like really, it's really no reading through that tablet. So we should be able to get through that one in a day. And we'll be done with this. I want to say by this time, probably Thursday or Friday. Tablet Z is the last one, and that's pretty long. Yeah, yeah. And Tablet Z ends on 398. So I want to say definitely by Saturday, I'm almost certain of it, that we're gonna be done with this and we'll be starting in the OISP. All right, y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. Oh, great spirit, let us glorify you in everything we do. Thank you for letting us know that we are in the new year. You are welcome. You're welcome. That last part wasn't a prayer. It was, they asked the question yesterday. I just kind of read it like it flowed into the little prayer. That wasn't a part of the prayer. You're welcome. All right, y'all. So picking back up on page 282 on, what is this, chapter 33. Okay, the title of this chapter is Infinity Gets Too Big for Real Britches. A recap. I don't remember. Finite AM will become clear. Are you following me here? Do you get the idea of how unnecessarily big infinity is when you're talking about a real thing? Okay, I'll just go back up one little paragraph. Okay, in a digital consciousness reality, anything that can be conceived is possible. Anything with a rational structure or rule base and with enough potential and complexity will eventually evolve to a more highly organized, lower entropy system of systems. We are not alone. Reality is teeming with intelligent life forms. In fact, we humans and non physical entities of OS are relatively minute, like one small school of fish in a gigantic ocean of sentient life. When you learn to move your awareness between dimensions, you will be amazed at the diversity of life forms that share our consciousness ecosystem. What difference does the existence of other reality systems make? Until one or more of these realities interact with your reality, the answer is none whatsoever. Absolutely none, right? And we all know that. So before we actually really experience the spiritual on purpose, or even if there are people who have never had a supernatural experience or a spiritual realm, they look at you like, what you talking about? None of that exists. It doesn't exist. They don't have anything to reference it to in their life experiences. So to them, it does not exist, right? Some of the stuff that I may have experienced, y'all might think I'm a little bit out there, but when you haven't personally experienced it, there's no way you could even reasonably. I mean, you could probably sit and listen to me out of respect and not calling me crazy to my face, right? But there is no way you could really comprehend what I'm saying to you, right? And it's like, and it borderlines to you, especially if you come out of the church. To you, I'm borderline doing witchcraft stuff. What are you talking about? And it's not really the case, right? Let me read this again. What difference does the existence of other reality systems make? Until one or more of these realities interacts with your reality, the answer is none whatsoever. Absolutely none. It is a fact that OS is only one of many evolving reality systems, but this particular fact is of no practical importance to your current task of reducing your entropy within the PMR Learning Lab. It may be nice to know that you are not alone, and interesting and educational to explore realms outside OS. However, such exploration can do little by itself to improve the quality of your consciousness. Activities that do not contribute significantly to the positive evolution of your consciousness are not important. The fundamental process of evolution, combined with the potential of sufficiently complex digital systems to self organize, generates all the reality that is within our capacity to comprehend. In contrast, our space time universe and small blue planet that represents only one special case application of that process. It is worth noting that the dynamic interaction of a simple evolutionary process with the fundamental energy of a self organizing digital consciousness spawns individuated sentient awareness, thinking beings through a multi level self generation progression of recursive process that is reminiscent of how a simple geometric relationship generates an intricate fractal pattern. An interesting similarity in both consciousness and fractal systems, each part of the pattern defines the process necessary to generate the whole. The critters and things of the earth, along with our beloved planet, solar system, and universe, inhabit only that sliver of 3D space time and non physical reality that is appropriate for our kind and our purpose. Every reality evolves in its own compatible systems and ecosystems. Palm trees do not grow on high mountaintops for similar reasons. The space time rule set is only appropriate for a tiny subset of reality. Other rule sets define consistent causalities elsewhere that are unimaginable to the residents of PMR. Consciousness and evolution have few limits placed upon their combined creativity. If any system or subsystem is profitable, can lead to self initiated entropy reduction, it probably exists. Why would you believe that a reality system like OS are the only ones likely to be profitable when your mind can comprehend no more than an infinitesimal subset of the possibilities? Do not let your beliefs and the limitations of your current knowledge limit your notion of what is possible. Letting your ignorance define the limits of an acceptable reality is bad science. Unfortunately, it is also the norm. That is why young scientists make the most dramatic breakthroughs. When you believe that you know, but you do not, you cut yourself off from the possibility of ever knowing. Oh, that is good. I might use that as a little like a little quote saying today. I think I will. And I put my big toe. When you believe that you know, but you do not, you cut yourself off from the possibility of ever knowing. The knowledge that lies outside the possibilities allowed by your core beliefs is beyond your intellectual reach, entirely invisible to your self limited vision. You simply cannot see beyond the walls you have constructed, regardless of how hard you are trying to do exactly that, and no matter how strongly you believe that your vision is clear and unimpeded. To see a bigger picture, to view what lies beyond, you must first tear down the wall, or at least some portion of it. Human cultures are little more than communities of shared beliefs where common belief blindness leads to erroneous conclusions that are universally held as obvious truth. Whew. Now that'll preach. Like my mama say, now that'll preach. Energy forms, matter and light, for example, and physics within other reality niches, including other 3D space time realms, may be vastly different from our physical matter reality because each dimension of existence, separate reality, functions under its own rule set. Nature, the natural manifestation of evolution within each reality, tends to leave few empty spaces and has a way of evolving something, not necessarily carbon based biology, to populate whatever can be populated. Even the environs around high temperature thermal vents under huge pressures and in total darkness at the bottom of the oceans produce life. Not as we are used to, perhaps, but life just the same. The fundamental evolutionary process seems to work everywhere. Life or consciousness awareness or individuated subsystems of consciousness are merely the result of a purposeful, self interacting, complex system with memory evolving its way through a large and diverse set of environmentally constrained possibilities. A complete set of the possible forms that sentient life could take is beyond our knowing. AUM is one member of that set, and we are another. Bacteria and flatworms are two more. Evolution produces life forms that are suited to their particular environment. That is how we and all the critters, including one celled critters and plants, turned out as we are. We fit our efficient and effective in our environment. An environment beyond our imagination will evolve forms and functions beyond our imagination to suit itself. Everyone should agree that a digitally simulated interactive virtual reality has few intrinsic limitations. It is a generally accepted idea among scientists that if we, or at least something vaguely like what the earth has produced, cannot exist, grow, and evolve within some postulated reality or host environment, then it is not possible for sentient life to flourish within such a place. The belief that any life forms might exist out there must be similar to the life forms of Earth is a product of little picture thinking. Without a doubt, we have a very limited view from where and what we are, and thus should be doubly careful not to constrain the possibilities we can grasp merely because we do not already know the answers. Such arrogance creates the walls of its own conceptual prison. Our physical matter reality time appears to us to be continuous, non gradular, or non quantized because the smallest times we can measure are vastly huge compared to one quantum of our time. You do not notice the granularity in a slab of steel or a pane of glass unless you can measure distances down to the size of an atom or molecule. The glass, steel, or wood tabletop you set your drink on appears to be solid and continuous Although we know it is made up of discrete tiny particles with vast regions of empty space between them, the granularity is imperceptible from a from the macro view. Time is the same way. From the macro view of our everyday experience, time appears to be continuous. You may find it profitable to visit this topic again after you have read chapters 9 and 10 of Book 3, where parallel probable universes are discussed. The bottom line is that all the time in all the past and present worlds that you might imagine is not a big deal for Aum to track. In time, as well as space, we will see that apparently infinite, but actually finite, is much, much more than enough to accomplish everything we have laid at the feet of a real Aum and a real TBC. It is reasonable to assume that Aum and TBC have multiple gazillions of margin, extra capacity, left over to grow into and play with. Although Aum is a big dude with a lot to do and keep track of, being infinite is not a prerequisite for the position. That's good. Maybe I might use that for the title. Being infinite is not a prerequisite for the position. I like that. It's kind of conservative. I keep some of the shenanigans off the page. When I did my last couple titles, the porn people start popping up again in the comments. I'm like, okay, yeah, I got to be careful how I word stuff in my titles, because when they do their searches, I seem to pop up with the smut that comes up. Huh. I hate to be categorized with them, but some of my titles are catchy, and if you haven't been here, you would get the wrong picture, right? But had to go through and delete um some comments. What you looking for, babe?
Oh, my wallet.
Oh,
I got some to eat last night. I got
right.
it.
Okay. All right. Did you still want to go past the warehouse after you done?
Oh, look at the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, y'all. This last chapter, chapter 34. This is the last chapter. It's like a page and a half, y'all. We're gonna get through it. We only at 27 minutes. Oh, it's because I gotta add in some stories or something.
No, you don't.
We're gonna be done early today. This is the earliest we ever been. Well, no, not the earliest. My first video started off. They was like 15 minutes long. I was like, just get it done and get out of here. Okay, chapter 34, the last chapter of My Big Toe. And it says, Section 2, Postlude. Hail, hardy readers, thou hast shown divine patience and great tenacity. Give yourselves a hand. Y'all lasted through this. Really, it's 5 a.m. Where you at? Yo, name. Well, you know what? Kudos to you for showing up or just popping your head in. Well, we on Eastern time. I'm not sure where you at. You might be in like California or something with Jen. But we start every day over here at 7:15 a.m. So yeah, you might be in California somewhere off up in that time zone. All right, babe. All right. I'll see you in a bit. Love you too. All right, so but it's too early for you. Going back to sleep. You in California? Okay, California. Okay. Well, welcome to my dojo. Right. All right, y'all. Let's read this last little chapter. Okay. I know it has been a wild ride, and that you are wondering what to make of all these new concepts and ideas piled one upon the next like food on a plate of a teenage boy at an all-you-can-eat junk food buffet. What's worse, most readers probably have little experience that can help them evaluate the truth of what you have just read. That is the nature of big truth. It is either trivially obvious or totally opaque. There is no need to make judgments or jump to conclusions. Do not believe anything for or against. Maintain an open mind and realize that you are only at the beginning of this journey. If everything made sense early on, it wouldn't be a particularly complex exposition, and a trilogy would not be required. Because I am taking most of you on a trip far beyond your wildest musings, you should expect this early in the unfolding to feel somewhat ambivalent, lost, and pleased, always skeptical. If you have little experience systematically exploring the larger reality of inner space, what you read here will no doubt seem abstruse, unsubstantiated, and beyond knowing. It is not. It only seems, hold on, I need some water. Hold on. Okay. It only seems that way from the perspective of your culture and your self limited experience. Consider how a 5-year old child or your favorite pet critter views and understands the larger world it lives in. Many things will seem absolutely beyond anyone's possible knowing when they are actually only out of sight of a limited vision and understanding. Believing that your vision is less limited than it actually is reflects a natural trait of high entropy consciousness that is constrained to an individuated unit of independent action. Section 4 will clarify this concept. Although what you have read in Section 2 may seem remote from your sense of reality, it was necessary to introduce some of these basic ideas you will need to bring the big picture into focus. Everything will fit together more smoothly later on. If the discussions of the life and times of Aeon was tough, slogging, and prompted you to yawn a few hums of your own, take heart. This next section, section 3, is all about you. Because it is all about you, it is bound to be exceptionally interesting. How could it be otherwise? In section 3, Man in the Loop, we will make the first tentative connections between all the weird, off the wall concepts in section 2 and what they could possibly have to do with you and your physical and mental reality. I think you will like this next section more than the previous one because it will give you some things to think about that you do have the experience to evaluate, and it will be less abstract. If you have made it this far and still have the desire and gumption to go on, award yourself 4 beautiful gold stars for your intellectual tenacity and inquisitiveness. Paste them inside the front cover of this book so that everyone will know that you are a dedicated, committed, serious seeker after something extraordinarily important, even if you are not sure at this point exactly what it is. And that, my beautiful people, is the end of the first book in the trilogy, My Big Toe. Yo, y'all done hung out to the end. I'm gonna give y'all a round of applause. Because some people would not have made it through that last part because, like, what are you saying? Blah blah blah. That makes no sense. I am not a scientific major. Neither am I an engineer. It makes no sense, Pam. Stop it. Right? But y'all hung in there, right? Don't jump to conclusions. You got to get some of these concepts out early so he can explain them a little bit better in words that we can understand in the next 2 books. But before we start book 2 of this trilogy, we're going to take a break. It's a good break, not necessarily a break, but we're going to get into a little bit more of the experiments. If y'all aren't doing the gateway process, how many of y'all still doing it? How many of y'all still doing meditation? Like y'all, this is the scientific part of the class where y'all have to be doing the lab exercises and stuff. Because as we get into the other parts, you really won't be able to keep up. You wouldn't have been deepening your personal experience. Y'all can sit here and listen to me all day, tell y'all about what happened to me, but it makes it no fun if I ain't really got nobody to talk to, if y'all aren't having personal experiences with the non-physical matter reality. Shayla, okay, Shayla, Auntie, y'all doing it? Okay, very good. I'm sure other people are, but I'm just saying, right? Some people here just for the reading, and that's okay. That's really okay. But you really should. If you're not doing the gateway process, not saying it's a requirement that you have to, but I think it's a really good process. Okay, Jen, okay, you're doing it too. Look, it's a really good structured process. and it will take you through and it'll help you develop it in a healthy way. You don't have to get all the waves done in 1 week, right? Although that's what the military do when they take people through that training. Don't do that. You need some time to let it sink in. Seed, time, harvest, which is why we're going to take a break from the next one so we can get a little bit more time in between so we can start seeing some of these harvests happen. And then some of the concepts in the next two books won't be so foreign to us, right? So the next book we're going to start, we're going to start the meditation, which is going to break down some principles. This comes from ancient Egypt, right? It's going to break down some more principles that we learned about in my big toe about meditation and how it was used, but from a different perspective, but it's still the same exact thing, right? And if you paid attention to my big toe, when those concepts come up, you'll recognize them here, right? And if you've actually been doing it, you will absolutely know what's being said because you have the experience with the knowledge, right? Okay, but before we start this one, we're gonna take 2 days. I told you I'm gonna fit in my little thin book, my iPad upstairs, but what ancient wisdom would have its disciples to know, we're gonna start that tomorrow. It's a real little thin book. Take a couple days to read it. I decided to read that before we read this because we're gonna be in this for the next couple months, and it'll take us a couple days to get through the little thin book. I think it's a good break between the meditation so you can just kind of, okay, right, okay, as we're growing, as we're developing spiritually, we need to be aware of some things, right? And you will see once we read it, right? If you haven't already downloaded it on Kindle or listened to the Audible, all right, y'all get what I'm saying. So, but I really don't have anything else to say, y'all. But once we done, I already said it, once we finish with the complete Annunaki Bible, by the end of this next week coming up, we're going to start the big blue book, the OISP. So the teaching portion of the class will be the OISP, and the lab portion will be the meditation stuff, right? Don't let meditation be a trigger word if you're full on Bible, right? Because Bible, y'all teaches us to meditate, right? Meditate on his words day and night that we may make our way successful before us, right? You need a little bit more information to make sure you fully understand what was being written, right? Because if we're going to worship the Creator, we must worship him in spirit and in truth. And all the stuff that we're bringing out, uncovering things, is to help us to understand the truth, fill in the pieces of the missing puzzle. Half of us, most of us here, up until we started getting truth or searching out other truth to help us understand some of the half truths that we get, we've been worshiping our Creator, been worshiping Yah in spirit and in ignorance, right? We had half truths, lies, made up stories, worshiping him in spirit and all this stuff and looking quite foolish to the outside world. And it was never designed to be that way. We're to worship our Creator, live in spirit and in truth. Everybody forget about the last half of that scripture, the truth part. And that's what we are. We are truth seekers, right? So with that being said, beautiful people, we can go ahead and end it at 38 minutes today. Oh, speaking of ending at 38 minutes today, if y'all will see it yesterday when I was about to end the video, my sister was on Facebook, but she kept popping up the numbers up there when I was saying I had to end it. She was like, you're at 38 minutes, 39, 40. Well, come to find out, as I ended the video, it wasn't actually my sister. It was her 7-year-old daughter. My sister was doing her hair and she was holding the phone and they was watching us. So when my niece heard that I was about to end the video, she's like, okay, Pam, I'm timing you. So every minute that I kept on talking, she kept posting a number: 38, 39, 40, 41. I'm like, girl, I'm going to get you. But, so I just wanted to share that with y'all so y'all wouldn't think my sister was a complete butthole. It was her niece. It was my niece, her daughter. All right, y'all. Also, I don't think he here, but also for Lindsay, y'all, he may come in later. The day you were timed out by my sister, it wasn't her. Well, it was. It came from her phone, but she was at work. She works at a hospital. Her phone was in a pocket while she was on live. She had to take care of something, and when she did it, she butt timed you out. So she didn't do it on purpose, right? So that's why I came in and I undeleted your message. She was like, oh my God, could you let them know that I didn't do that on purpose? It happened by accident. I had to put my phone in my pocket. I must have hit it by mistake or something. So Accidents happen, people. All right, so but that's it. That's all I got for today, y'all. About to get out of here and enjoy this Saturday. We'll be looking for the new moon to show its face tonight. Well, we can actually see it. It's already new moon, but can't really call it if you can't see it. You call it once you're able to see it. We know the transition days, it is legally considered new moon because you're starting all over. The disc is completely void of any light, but that normally happens for, it depends on which month it is, and the transition days could vary from 1 to 2.5, so you can't call it. If you call it on one of the black days, you get your count off, so you have to call it when it first shows light in its disc, and that's what we call, for counting purposes, right? For counting the Sabbath purposes, we call that day one. The first, well, when it shows, it's new moon day, and the first day of light after it shows that night, because it will always show its this at night after the sunrise for new moon. The first day of light that shows the next day will be day one count for the next month, for Sabbath counting purposes. But for the full month counting purposes, the day it shows would be day one. So if you're counting it like that, then the next day would be day two, because that would be day two of nighttime, because the first night showed that night, but it was the last day of daylight for the previous month, if that makes sense to you. I hope I just didn't confuse you. Okay, so, but if it shows tonight after sundown, in the western sky, after the sun goes down, where the sun sets, is where we should be looking for the new moon to show its face, right? It'll be about an hour, 2 hours after the sun sets, and it will show its face for about 3 to 4 hours, just depending on where you're at in the world, right? But then it's just letting us know, hey, the new day of light begins tomorrow. Start counting tomorrow. It's the first day of daylight for this new moon cycle tomorrow. The first night of the month. First day, daylight when the sun shows for this new period is tomorrow, day one. Begin your Sabbath counting from here. Okay. Yeah, if the sky isn't heavenly sprayed, that's what I said, at the beginning. I haven't been able to see the moon, so I have been tracking it, looking at different sites like NASA and some of the other moon sites that track the moon when it actually shows, when people call it out from different places across the world. I haven't been able to see it because it's heavily sprayed over here, so maybe it'll be different tonight. I don't know, we'll see. All right, y'all, that's it. Thank y'all for hanging out. May y'all bless the work of your hands and all that you do, and may all the raw data that you get turns into understanding. May you be able to assimilate it appropriately, and may all that assimilated information turn into understanding and then translate into wisdom for your life and your loved ones and those who would hear you speak. All right, beautiful people. That's it. I love y'all. I see y'all back here tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bruce. Blessings name. It's early. Go back to sleep where you at. Unless you're starting your day for the day. But thank you for hanging out today. Shalom.